Alright, so today is going to be a pretty simple episode. The main reason being is because I don't really have a lot of time tonight. I need to actually go to sleep. I've been staying up really late trying to push this account as much as I can. So I feel that this episode is going to be good for those who are doing their free-to-plays, but they just don't really have a lot of time. So you can at least look at this to see what is the most important thing that you want to knock out daily. But I also want to try to knock out Frontier Clash hard because I only have a 1 out of 1 attempt. Now most likely I should get an extra attempt tomorrow, but I don't want to risk it, so I'm going to try to do it tonight. Because when I take a look at Void Rift, now I have a 1 out of 2 attempt. So I'm not exactly sure how you get these extra attempts, if it's based off a level, or is it just once you have 3 attempts, it turns into a 3 out of 3. So first I attempted to do matchmaking to see if I was able to match up very quickly, and it didn't really look like that was working. Next, I tried to use the world chat and ask if anyone would carry an FC hard, and that also didn't work either. Luckily though, I gave matchmaking one more try, and after 10 minutes, I was finally able to get into a group. So basically going through this, I would strongly recommend that you either kind of get into an active crew, get on an active server to where a lot of people want to help you, or do things like get on Kawasa's stream over at Kawasa Gaming to where he just does these FC carries for anybody, as long as you're on Solaris. But the nice thing about matchmaking is you don't necessarily have to be on the person's server to group up with them. So if you are like in the same North American servers, you could just matchmake when he's doing these FC carries and you might be able to get in. But this is one of those cases to where making a few well friends can come in handy. And generally if you get into an active level 6 crew, you're gonna probably be able to find someone who doesn't mind helping you out. Being in the FC hard, I did try my best to help as much as I could, but I did take quite a few deaths. I even got an achievement. So as a free-to-play, I tried my best to help where I could by at least using physical so I could apply that Grievous effect to help my team do more damage, even though we had a Lyra in the party. I ended up only getting 2 pieces of golden gear, but they were gloves and boots, which are probably the best golden gears to get. On top of that, my gloves and my boots have crit on them, so a very strong start for my free-to-play account. But once that was finished, I need to knock out my daily task. So I needed to do my 4 bounties, and I decided just to go with a Sparrow and do the 3 Mia's Kitchens for the day, so that way I can get a lot of experience and some extra resources. Then I talked with Hopkins over at the Black Market, went to Cetus Island and did the claw machine, but unfortunately I needed the jet board to do one of the trainings. So I needed to continue the Astra storyline so that way I can get access to the jet board. So once I found a good stopping point over at Banky's dock, I decided to go ahead and continue with my trainings. I will say that I ended up messing up and I ended up doing the highest combat training when I really didn't have to. I could have done the second highest and got the same amount of points and have an easier person to fight. Because unfortunately I was strong enough to damage the enemy, but I wasn't fast enough to kill it within the time limit. I also been neglecting to level up a lot of my gear, especially when it comes to matrices on my weapons. And the last thing I did for the night was do the surfboard training, which I'm not the greatest at. Personally, I mainly use Claudia for this, but you know, free to play. But I did end up getting a decent score. Currently right now I'm on my main account, but there is one other thing I wanted to mention. Ideally, you would like to try to do your 8 fun zones for the day, but as a free to play, I believe your main focus is trying to increase those levels and get more dark crystals and gold nucleus so that way you can increase the power of your account. It's something that you do want to try to do daily, but it's probably not like the top priority on your list. Then your other optional content would be the gray space once you reach level 74, because you can go in there and get some free gold dust. You may not be strong enough to go ahead and kill the monsters depending on how your account is, but at the very least you can pick up that dust. And if you make it all the way to 80, then of course you can do the Twilight Zone and get those crystal fragments. And then a quick recap for today. So we were actually able to enhance our gloves a little bit, and I was able to get about 1200 crit, but I have 2 more rows. Hopefully that goes into crit and I can have a very strong crit piece of gear. But on top of that, we also have boots, which also give crit, so hopefully it rose into crit as well. My weapons, I'm still keeping Shiro and Samir to level 30 because I do plan to replace these for Ruby and Annabella if I can get enough dark crystals and rope for them. But I do need to start working on my matrices and start leveling those up because I am starting to reach that point to where I am not strong enough to clear content in a certain time. as you saw in the training. One thing I want to focus on is getting some more gifts so that way I can unlock Samir's first tier trait. Now ideally, I would love to get to 4,000 awakening points, but I'm not sure if I have enough time within a week, but I'm going to try to do everything I can to get as many gifts as possible to do that. But for the future, I'm mainly planning on trying to get to level 60. That way I can start accessing these raids because it's generally easier to get into raid groups earlier in the week. And hopefully I can find some whales that are nice enough to carry me like in Frontier Clash. And with that, that should do day 3. So look forward to day 4 and I'll talk with you guys later.